what's it like? I was actually there in attendance in Cleveland for Coe's first career NFL touchdown, which was awesome. And,
awesome.
It was a great game. You could hear me on camera. I was just screaming, "Say it ain't so, Coe! Say it ain't so!" Sadly, from there, the game kind of went off the rails a little. That was the last high moment of that game, but it was a great game. Overtime loss, fun time.
Yeah.
How was that moment for you? Seeing the first, whether it was on TV, in person, wherever you were, seeing his first NFL touchdown. How was that?
Well, dude, I mean, we were at home because it was a away game. We don't travel to a lot of the away games because we can get into that later. But, to watch that and to think I wished I was there live. So to have your video was so cool. And just that, hey, this is so cool. I mean, that was so cool for us. Catching it from Tom Brady, right? Like he's got the ball yet. First NFL touchdown means a lot, right? I mean, as a dad, that's just so cool to see. And it was fun to watch. And, it didn't have the outcome we wanted, but still the same. What a memory! What a memory to have, right? So,
and honestly,
cool.
those. One of the best guests ever, the Buccateers in the house tonight. You guys hear him on Tampa radio all the time. He's one of the best in the business. My favorite personal in the business. That's why I'm elated tonight. Growing up in the Chicago area, you're used to sports radio. That's what gets me through the day. So this man does help get me through the day, I will say, with the Pat and Aaron show at work. Nothing like it. So it's incredible. It looks like we got Stunna bumbling in. I'm Tampa Tones. We are joined by lead goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little cleared. But we're joined by Pat Donovan.
It looks like Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like you got a little...
No, my camera's broke.
And he was trying to pull me in big time. And then I was like, nothing's happened with Indianapolis yet. Like, I really want to give Indy a chance. And then also I talked to Cody Bruton, once he took over Richmond Cannon, still like, well, look, I was like, y'all just give me the opportunity to explore free agency, see what's going on, and then kind of make us do it.
All right, everyone, you are tuned into the Buccateers of wide receiver Kalen Geiger, and we are about to have a great pod. This is the Buccateers. You're tapped in, and here we go. Howdy ho, howdy hey, how the hell is everybody? Welcome into the Buccateers podcast. I'm your host, Tampa Tones, with the great crew in tonight. We got Cats, we got J-Lo, we got the great Bucs by 30, Zach Johnson as well, coming off a Man Cave Monday, which was incredible. Had a very cool guest on that program as well. If you missed it, it's available on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and all the outlets. But Zach, really fun stuff last night, brother, doing a Man Cave Monday on a Victory Monday. Always a little bit more fun, my friend.
Absolutely, it was a good time. If you missed the show live, go back and watch it. It's worth a view.
The great Richard T in the house. Happy Taco Tuesday. I like my tacos with bacon and eggs. I'm not sure. J-Lo's doing the hokey pokey right now. He's all about entering with different screens. It's like the Brady Bunch in here. But Cats, how we doing, brother? How are you, my friend? What do you think about the big Bucs win we had this week?
What a gutsy effort, man. Going across the country like that, hanging 38 points on a very good defense. I realize we gave up 35, so every game takes on a life of its own, though. As we all know, stats can go out the window. Just an outstanding effort. Can't say enough about these guys for what they did this week.
Couldn't agree more. And this week will be, well, maybe the battle of the two best in the NFC when we have San Fran coming to Tampa to take on our Buccaneers against a very feisty bunch that is the 49ers. So we got a great Two Me Up Tuesday episode. J-Lo, you there, my friend? How the hell are you doing, brother? Welcome in.
Yes, sir. My bad. I couldn't hear y'all guys. For some reason the sound was cut off, so I had to reload it to get back in. But I'm doing great, man. Bucs won, still holding it down, 4-1 with all these injuries going on. It's a great day in Tampa Bay.
2025 wouldn't be something without technology problems, right? That's what it is these days. All this technology is great, but always problems. So glad we could get you, brother. We got a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do. A lot to talk about and fun matchup coming up Sunday.
And we got college football moving to Wednesday tomorrow, so be on the lookout for the campus kickoff coming tomorrow as college football starts on Wednesdays. Guys, starting tomorrow, you have an NFL game or college football game every single night through November 24th, I believe. So we got about 49 or 50 straight nights of NFL and college football to be had on TV with the great Baub man joining us. The great Olivia says plus Cubs. Yes, we need the Cubs to win tomorrow. We're down 0-2, so we're facing elimination there. That is not a good feeling, but speaking of a good feeling, we did win. We're coming into this one 4-1, Zach, against the 49ers, who are 4-1, and the top of the NFC is all kind of taking turns beating each other at this point, it seems, right? You had the Eagles beat the Rams and the 49ers, sneak one away last Thursday, and then you had the Buccaneers beat Seattle. You had Seattle barely lose to the 49ers by 1 point. So it's kind of just been a bunch of close football games here amongst the top dogs in the NFC to this point. Outside the Bears division really hasn't dipped their toes into battle yet with the other big NFC foes, it seems like. I mean, you did have the Packers beat the Commanders and whatnot, but to this point, the Niners, Zach, have been a top 2 to 3 team in the NFC. Here, we've been struggling with them. Is this another game where we, quote-unquote, slump bust this myth of we can't beat San Fran? Remember, we can't beat the Falcons. We can't win primetime games. We annihilated those weeks 1 and 2. Todd Bowles, Hassan Reddick had a revenge game against the Jets. Is this another one of those slump busting revenge games for this Buccaneers team this Sunday?
I think it has to be until we beat a Shanahan coach team. We really struggled with them in that system. Even when Brady was here, I mean, that was one of the worst losses in Brady's tenure here in Tampa, when they just beat the brakes off of us that first year. So, yeah, I think until we put that in the rear view, it's going to be another one of those boxes that we have to check. We've already done a couple of those this season with the creamsicles and the primetime and the Falcons, this and that. So we're kind of like making that that our revenge tour, like you said. So yeah, I think until we put a W in the column, it's always going to be an albatross.
Creamsicle's another good point, right? Because although they're reverse creamsicles, we're 2-0 in it. So there you go. And we win, 1976. That's a different story, what happened in them back then. But yes, you're right, Zach. That's another one to add to the hit list. As B-Shuck joins us. Evening, folks. Evening, B-Shuck. How you doing, brother? Great friend of the program. Hope all is well with you. Welcome in. But Zach, couldn't agree more. I think this game lines up with that. Every win this year has pretty much been that, a revenge game or a payback game, Mr. Katz. And do you think, Katz, this game is extra motivation with a guy like John Lynch running the show in San Fran? A, do you think that's part of the reason why we can't get over the hump? And B, do you think that adds extra motivation to the 49ers fire? Hey, ex-Buck legend runs the show here. We're going to go out and get this win for him.
I don't think it's had any ill effect on us in terms of losing to the 49ers. And I don't really think at this point in time that gives them any extra motivation. I just think, I'll say this, in each of the last 3 meetings, we've gotten progressively closer to beating them, including last year's was excruciating. Thought for sure after the stiff arm on Bosa, converting that fourth down, we were going to go down there, score a touchdown, and win that game. Didn't happen. We were very banged up. We didn't have Evans or Godwin. We didn't have Jalen McMillan. So we know we're going to be healthier at wide receiver, it seems like. So that's a good thing. We also broke, technically, the Bucs had never won a game in those original 76 uniforms. They were 0-14. They changed the uniform slightly in 77. So they technically broke that curse, if you will, that they never won in those.
Yeah. Well, and Katz, just to ask you one more thing quick. You did mention the Baker play last year where he kind of dragged Bosa on a little bit, miraculously got that off. That was in the midst of us banged up at wide receiver, if you remember. Quite frankly, we didn't have a lot of bodies out there at this time. And here's a week where we have Igbuka back. Is this when we could see maybe the next step in Chris Godwin's gameplay after 2 weeks of a little bit of slow football, which is expected, and no one's knocking him for it. Totally expected. But, Cats, could this be a week where last year the wide receiver availability was a problem with San Fran? Could we see Chris Godwin kind of help solve that problem this week?
Well, I do believe so. And regardless of whether he's out there, putting up huge numbers or not, defense has to account for Chris Godwin. He's out there. They have to account for him, whether he's at 100% or not. He's still working his way back. I think there's still maybe some, I say trepidation, a little bit of nervousness getting hit. And maybe that's why you've seen a couple drops that are uncharacteristic. So, but he's working his way back. He's out there a lot, and like I said, the defense has on him. Also, shout out to Sterling Shepard, who's been absolutely fantastic this season. He was okay last year. I didn't think he was bad, but he took some dumb penalties. He had some killer drops, and I don't want to jinx him, but he's been money this year.
He really has. And shout out to our guy, friend of the program, Matt Kratz, watching live on Facebook, tuning in, giving us a like. We appreciate that. And for those watching live on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe button, turn that notification bell on. We got a couple different membership opportunities for the Buccateers podcast. Go over to our YouTube page, check those out. One of them involves getting free merch monthly. One of them involves getting shout out and private chat opportunities with the Buccateers. So there's some fun stuff over there. Become an honorary Buccateer today. All chats, regular and super chats, are appreciated as well for the show, for this program as we move in to the middle of the fall. J-Lo, revenge game to you. And once again, happy puck drop as well. I just did turn on the Panthers-Blackhawks game. So to you hockey fans tuning in, hockey is back already. I know that's hard to believe. But J-Lo, keep me on track here, brother. 49ers revenge game opportunity for Baker. And as we know, Baker Mayfield likes to play with that chip on his shoulder, doesn't he?
He sure does. He absolutely does. He doesn't bat down. He goes to war. This is a different football team, I feel, from the last couple times we played the 49ers, to where I feel that this will be a game we can finally get over that hump and beat Shanahan, beat Brock Purdy or Matt Jones, whoever steps up to the plate. I mean, to me, the Bucs got all the tools they need to go win this football game. And to pretty much, the defense has got tightened up, which I think they will. I think we'll get one of our corners back to kind of help us out. Hopefully not. Different, game plan changes for bowls, adjusting. Because we cannot go out and lose to the Niners again. The Buca's playing out of his mind as well. So to me, I'm more confident than ever from the last few times we played the 49ers. The Bucs will get it done.
Pop's texting into the show. Tez and our tight end game was big in that win as well. They sure were. And Zach, this is something we talked about here on the show a lot, specifically about the tight end room, but Tez's role as well, that they would be, because a lot of people were complaining that Tez wasn't a return man. Well, it's to get his toes wet and get him involved more in the wide receiver position, especially because Cam Johnson's been doing so great. And then on the other hand, about the tight end room, well, between O'Keefe and the O-line injuries, kind of think that speaks to itself on where you need a guy like Payne Durham or Cade Otton a lot of the time. So, Zach, two things that looked good out there, but as we talk about often, just things that needed time for the offense to get a little healthier to be able to achieve those stats.
Absolutely. And you also have to remember that we haven't played a game this season with our full roster and an offensive line playing in their assigned positions. And we're still 4-1. The main difference to me this year with this team is we always found a way to lose, but this year we're finding a way to win. And that's a huge difference, whether it's, offense, defense, in some of these games, it's one or the other. We haven't played a complete game on both sides of the ball yet with a whole starting lineup yet. And as much as special teams tried to cost us that game, we still found a way to win. But last year, that would have been a loss, just like the Jets game would have been a loss and the Texans game would have been a loss. We're turning those probable losses into wins, and that's a testament to the coaching and to the culture and to Baker Mayfield just refusing to lose regardless of what's on the field with them. And that goes back to even last year, when I think it's where it kind of started, when Mike and Chris went down and J-Mac was down in that Kansas City game. Like, we were there and we watched Baker absolutely will that football team to tie that game up before we, unfortunately didn't go for two and lost it in overtime. But he's throwing, Ryan Miller was wide receiver 1 in that game. And the front office came through and loaded up the wide receiver room, and we're getting contributions all the way down to wide receiver 5 on Sundays. It's just a tremendous effort from the squad this year.
And we do have a little bit of breaking news regarding your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. According to Greg Allman, we have a little bit of a roster shuffle on our hands, folks. Ready for this? The Buccaneers have released Sua Opeta from their practice squad. So Sua Opeta has been released, and the Bucs have brought back Owen Wright to the practice squad. So I don't think that's a great sign for Bucky Irvin if they are bringing in a running back potentially. Maybe not. Who knows, as it's just a practice squad signee, and that could change. But Katz, as a Godfather, says, hello, men. Hello, Godfather. Thanks for tuning in. Katz, what say you on that little bit of a shuffling? Sua Opeta off the practice squad, Owen Wright onto the practice squad, according to Greg Allman, friend of the program.
Well, from what I've gathered, from the get-go, it seemed like it was going to be at least a probably 2 to 3 week injury. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little bit longer than that. But I don't know if there's any correlation, but that's just my honest guess. And good news is Rachaad White holding it down, and hopefully they can get Sean Tucker going a little bit, because it's a struggle for him on Sunday. So I don't know if it really, I think they've been preparing for, Bucky to miss maybe a couple more weeks. So far avoided IR, though, which is a good sign.
Agreed. And before we get J-Lo's thoughts on this scale of 1 to 10 questions, Zach, Virgin Boys says we need Dean or Morrison back ASAP. Since you're the Dean guy, we also can't be sleeping on Izzy and too, but those are 3 big misses in the secondary. And against a team like the 49ers, although they're banged up, those are some of the horses you may want out there. This is a team where whoever's out there for San Fran, they seemingly get the job done.
Absolutely. And I think Jennings has a chance to play this week, and Kittle has a chance to play this week. So San Francisco's getting healthy as well. So we definitely need at least Dean or Morrison back. And I would love to have Izzy in back for his versatility. He can play so many spots, and he's really valuable to what the defense can do. And maybe if we can lock down coverage just a little bit more, we'll have a little bit more success with the front 4 getting home.
Yeah, you make some great points. Jennings could be back. Kittle, a little less likely, but you never know with a psychopath like that, right? He could be out there any given Sunday. Also, Ricky Pearsall might come back too. He missed last week. So they're a team that's 1, 2, 3 injury designations away from really bolstering their crew this Sunday. And, McCaffrey looks like he's old McCaffrey again. He's doing things that are dangerous out there. He'd be in the running for Offensive Player of the Year right now. So the San Fran team has a lot of weapons, and you'd really like to see Dean and or Morrison and or Izzy and be ready to roll this Sunday to help combat that. But it's a battle of the banged up, right? Who's going to get healthier? It seems like we say this weekly now. We said it last week with Seattle. We said it this week now with San Fran. What players missing this game are going to be more detrimental to the squad? As Bud says, as long as we got 6, man, Baker bricked me up with his Instagram post about an hour ago, too. He posted the tunnel because they were talking shit in the tunnel to Baker. I'm sure everybody's seen that video by now, but he said anywhere, anytime with the crew right in the tunnel right there. And I love 6. I love Baker, man. He is the coolest thing. Brady's the greatest thing, and he was cool as well. But Baker's the coolest thing to come to the Bucs in quite some time. And, no knock on Brady. He was awesome. He was cool. He was the greatest thing. Baker's the coolest thing. But J-Lo, why don't you get us started off here? 1 to 10 confidence level heading into Sunday is blank.
Honestly, I say about an 8. Like I mentioned earlier, this is a different football team compared to the last couple of times we played the Niners. And like the other dude said, it's all about sits. If you keep Baker in this game, if he stays healthy, you're going to have a great shot at winning the football game by any means necessary, no matter who the opponent is. And to me, the Niners are a little banged up as we are, and their defense is still talented. You can't sleep on their defense. But they're coming to our house, and I feel like, the Bucs play their best efforts in their house as well. So to me, I say an 8 for sure.
Cats?
I'll say a 7 because I haven't seen the injury report yet. But I'm gonna go with a solid 7.
And Zach, what say you?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. I'm with Cats. I think the injury report's going to make me feel a little bit more confident or a little less confident, depending on what the final results are.
I'll go with the 10 right now. I'm going to puff my chest out there and say, damn it, this is a year that we're slaying dragons. We're coming out here beasting. And I must say, nobody thought the 49ers would win last Thursday. I had them in my work pool and my confidence pool, to be honest with you. But let's say most of the national public did not, because the Rams were the new hot thing. Right now, everybody's on this 49ers bandwagon. They're going to be coming a long way to Tampa Bay. I know it's a 3:25 Central, 4:25 Eastern kickoff, which is 1:25 Pacific time, so not the latest in the world for them, but it does throw them off their game a little bit coming across country, throw them out of their element, hopefully a little bit. And again, who knows on their injury report who might be starting at quarterback, right? B-Shuck says, I'm with you. Thank you. I just feel confident in this one. I just do for some reason. And I'm going to leave it at that. I just think this could be the year that the Bucs are really capable and able to take down this 49er football team. Reminds me of the scene from Varsity Blues 10. I agree completely. But any last words, anybody on the Opeta Owen Wright move before we move on to the 49ers trying to copy what the Bucs are doing, perhaps?
I think that move.
Zach, go ahead.
I just think that move is more about Williams being on the active and getting another body on the practice squad. Also, probably speaks to Feeney being a little bit closer to ready to play, maybe.
Love Feeney, man. I was, my aunt and uncle were over this weekend who knows Feeney, and we were talking, and they said, yeah, they talked to his parents, and although it's been short, he's enjoyed his time so far in Tampa. I'm like, well, Baker said so about his hairdo in the current episode they showed, or maybe it was when Baker was mic'd up, but one of the videos that Bucs Socials posted, he was very complimentary on Feeney's hairstyle. J-Lo, quick last thoughts. You were going to say something, brother?
Yeah, I was going to say, with the Owen Wright, going to the practice squad, you guys mentioned about the injury report. I'm wondering if Sean Tucker or maybe Josh Williams might be a little banged up too. That's another thing to think about. I was wondering as well, but we'll wait and see on that part, on the Owen Wright thing. And like you said about Feeney, I think Feeney's ready to, step in there and be the starting right guard to help us out.
Yep, we think it was Varsity Blues as well, B-Shuck. What up, Jason? Looks like he's joining us over from Niner territory. Welcome here. Welcome, and happy to have you here. We're pretty much calling it like it is. This is going to be a slugfest. Battle of two of the three best in the NFC, in my opinion. Right now, I'd put the Bucs. I'd put the Eagles. I'd put the 49ers. And I'd put the Lions as the cream of the crop of the NFC right now. Those four teams. And then you have really good teams like the Rams and Packers right there as well. But those would be my four tops. So Niner Macy, we're both banged up squads heading into this one. We just hope it's a good game and that the Buccaneers come out on top. And let's be quite frank with you. We haven't been able to beat your Cats much, if at all, often these days. A Shanahan-led team, as Zach alluded to. So we just hope it's a Bucs win for the first time in a while. Ain't that right, Zach?
Yeah, and what is the saying? In the first time in forever, there's a popular little Disney tune to that.
The first time.
Right.
I'm not going to try singing.
Yeah, man, I think it's going to come down to, Who wants it more? It's not going to be a comfortable game. I'm putting myself in the mindset this season that no Bucs game will be a comfortable game for me to enjoy until the zero's on the clock. Man, they're finding a way to mess with your blood pressure, play in and play out. Just when you have a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter, you feeling comfortable? Hold my beer because you're about to not be comfortable.
Jason says pretty much the same. Let's hope this game has the same level of excitement as both of our games have been so far this season. Yeah, Jason, I had the 49ers last week. I actually bet on them. And I bet on this fella, Tunges, to get the first touchdown of the game. I got really good odds on that. I put 10 on it and won 210 from Tunges. So that was a nice little one. And he looked like a threat. And that's what scares me about this 49ers team too. Although I think Kittle probably sits this one out. If he plays, these two tight end sets are going to be really nasty, really hard to combat potentially. So we'll see what happens there. But hopefully Kittle is out for our sake. I don't want to see him unhealthy, but get him healthy, get him back after the Bucs week. The four wise men, what's up, Cleve and me? Happy to see you in here. Yes, we're going to talk about that right in a minute here. The Flacco trade is we're going to talk about a couple of things. Couple of trades happen around the National Football League today, couple of big deals. So we are going to talk about that after this quarterback talk. What's up, boys? Go Bucs, says Tyler, our friend. Tyler, go Bucs to you, my friend. But J-Lo, I want to get your opinion on this first. Potentially, 49ers have a Baker Mayfield type case on their hands. Zach, you'll be next here as well. Sam Darnold went to the 49ers, ended up equating some success elsewhere. Baker Mayfield went to a guy like Sean McVay, ended up having success elsewhere. Now you see Mac Jones, who at one point, not too long ago in yesteryear, pretty much a couple years back, was supposed to be the next big thing. Remember when people were predicting Patriots, Bucs, Super Bowl, Mac Jones, Tom Brady matchup? That was not long ago, ladies and gentlemen. Suddenly, Mac Jones fell out of favor. Ended up in a place like Jacksonville last year, who really had no leadership over there, right? So he went from a rough situation in New England, who was kind of falling out of favor there, to a rough situation in Jacksonville. Now he's in San Fran, and he has a coach again. And Zach, he's looking good. J-Lo, he's looking good. Cats, to me, he's looking better than Brock Purdy right now. J-Lo, what say you on the situation of Mac Jones? Could this be a Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, now maybe even Daniel Jones situation? As Buckin says, what up, fellas? What up, Buckin? But J-Lo, what say you?
No, I agree. I mean, he's in probably the best situation he could ever be in right now under Kyle Shanahan. Shanahan's very good developing quarterbacks, even when they have rough years. If you, like you mentioned, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, and then now you got Matt Jones, who, even if he's playing, Sunday, if he does over Purdy can't play, it's still going to be a good game because Matt Jones has put on a pretty good show underneath the 49ers offense.
Yeah, and Macy, that's funny because the guy that a lot of 49ers fans seemingly clamored about was obviously Tom Brady coming home, right? And that was the guy that made the headlines. But Zach, that makes sense to me about wanting Mayfield if you're a Niner fan, because Purdy, I do like Brock Purdy, don't get me wrong, but, he's one of those guys that's a coin flip on the big contract. And thoughts on Mac Jones? I like Mac Jones, Zach. I think he's doing good things there. I'd watch out for him to be one of the next big sign QBs of the future.
Yeah, Shanahan's coaching is really the Lazarus Pole for quarterbacks, man. He is amazing at resurrecting these guys' career, giving them reinstilling their confidence. We talk about this on the show all the time, that these franchises destroy these young quarterbacks and strip them of their confidence, and then they go on this long storied journey of backup after backup after backup until they hit the right situation and they are able to find some success again. And I think Mac will end up in another uniform next season and have some success. He does look pretty good. I will say I don't really understand the Brock Purdy. I don't want to say hate because I don't think that's the right word, but uncertainty that he gets, because the dude's been nothing but successful when he's there. I think his biggest problem is that, man, he is vanilla as vanilla can come. He's just doesn't seem like he has any personality, any grit, or any of that kind of stuff that attracts you to a quarterback. So I don't know if that's what it is, but he's accurate. He can make the throws. He doesn't really make a whole lot of mistakes in that offense. I don't think Mac Jones is going to usurp him in that position by any means. I do think that'll be his job when he comes back. Mainly one, because they paid him and nobody's taking on that contract. So San Fran's going to be with Purdy for a minute, but Mac will move on to greener pastures for him in his career after this season, thanks to Shanahan's coaching.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, and I agree on the Purdy thing. Maybe it is his vanilla-ness that doesn't attract him, and maybe that's why Mac Jones is a guy who people are liking right now, because he's that fired up type of persona, right? The guy to get you ready for war. Remember cigar smoking after the big win back in the day in New England. Yeah, so Mac Jones, 49er to stay. Purdy maybe 49er to stay, but Mac, it wouldn't surprise me if he might try and weasel out of there for more money, or maybe demand more money, whatever happens to him. But it'll be interesting to watch. Katz, do you think Mac Jones could be the next Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold of the world out there?
Baker and Darnold, they both went to better situations. I mean, Baker had a minute in Los Angeles that seemed to help him. He came here. He's got Todd Bowles. He's got Dave Canales, who worked well with him. And then, of course, Liam Cohen and now Josh Broussard. And, similarly, Darnold goes to Minnesota. He's got a real good coach in Kevin O'Connell. And now here's Mac Jones with Kyle Shanahan. So, that's really just finding these talented quarterbacks, finding the right situation, and parlaying it into, greener pastures, like you said. So, I think there's a very good chance he's the next one.
Did you guys just see as well, little news out of the NFL? Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon has been fined $100,000 for his sideline incident with Amari DiMercato. Personally, obviously, never hit a player, not advocating to hit a player, but at day's end as well, Zach, I mean, these players are making millions. They got to be a little smarter. We're seeing this fumbling before the goal line happen a little too often. Gannon's situation aside, I'm just bringing it up because he was fine, but what the hell's going on with all these Like, I was even nervous when I think it was Bucky Irvin a couple weeks ago kind of was toting it out with one hand, the football. I'm like, bro, finish. Go across the goal line, because, Zach, between college and NFL, we're just seeing this seemingly, it feels like once a week, once every other week at this point.
Yeah, seeing it once a season is one time too many. These guys are professionals. You got to carry the ball across the line. I don't get it. I mean, we just saw, what was it, last week there was another player, or the week before? So, so why would you bust that long run off and then not secure the ball across the goal line like that? It just, I don't get it, man, especially when you've already seen it. So, coaches everywhere were on guys about, we got to take better care of the football, and then to go out and do it in that manner, especially when there's like nobody around. Like there's no way you fumble that ball because there's no defense, and you just drop it before you cry. I mean, that's crazy, man.
It's one of those things where you can't make up excuses for it. You can't give reasoning for it. One of those things that gets you in the doghouse, and apparently hit on the sideline now too, I guess. He is fined $100,000 for that. But Kat's thoughts on this? I mean, as Zach said, once a season's too much, but now we've seen it back-to-back weeks at the pro level, and it happened earlier this year in the college level as well. I think 3 or 4 times in total.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, you've done all the hard work to make a catch, you get take a handoff and go, bust out of the open, get all the way to the end zone. And once you get in there, you can celebrate all you want, and you decide to just hot dog it for the last half yard, and you lose possession. It's beyond me how players don't know, these guys just don't care to finish the play, or don't know the rule, don't know where they are at on the field. It's just such poor fundamentals, poor awareness, and it's shocking. 2 weeks in a row, we saw it at least once last year in the NFL. It's just really stunning stuff.
Yeah, it's really stunning stuff, and I feel like Deshaun Jackson is a big one that kind of comes to mind back in the day. Remember, I believe, because maybe that was Monday Night Football or primetime game, so the world was watching, but nobody's learned their lesson, seemingly, J-Lo.
No, unfortunately, no. They gotta be better, man. Like our guys mentioned, they gotta be better, make smarter choices, finish the play, get in the end zone, then you can celebrate. That's the only I can really say. As far as Gannon getting fined, I can understand his frustration over it. I'm pretty sure he's had the coaches work with the running back saying, "Hey, finish the play, don't screw it up." It happens, but he apologized. He'll take the fine, and hopefully these players can be better at it. You know what I mean? Like, make better decisions, hold the ball, and don't celebrate until you're in the end zone officially.
Before we get to a couple of the trades that happened around the league today, and if the Bucs should make a trade or not, as we are seeing some rumors about Mark Andrews again, which I'm not a big fan of, and I get he's friends with Baker, and we'll talk about to see if the Bucs should make those type of trades or not. Hey, the great B Shuck with a super chat. That is awesome. And Zach, here's our guy being our guy again. We're very grateful for B Shuck, and we'll play some music for him. If it play, yeah, there we go.
All right, there we go. Yeah, B Shuck, love you, man. Love you.
Yeah, we love you, buddy. J-Lo, thoughts?
No, thank you. That's very kind of him, putting the effort in. He's been constantly on the super chat. We appreciate it. Got to meet him a few weeks ago when he came down to Tampa for the Bucs and Jets game. Really good dude. Appreciate you, Ben.
You know what? Maybe instead of music from now on, it obviously takes a little while to get going with the chorus, we'll just simply do a noise, like maybe this. We'll call it the, well, no, that would be very bad. I was going to say we'll call it the clap chat, but that might not be a proper name.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
No.
You have to get a penicillin shot for that.
Yeah, that's just not the right thing to do, I guess. So, but Cats, we're very appreciative. Ain't that right, brother?
Thank you very much, Brian, for always being a great interacting with us. And thanks so much for your support. We really appreciate it.
It always helps grow the show, and we appreciate it more than it seems. But we're going to come up with the noise that's not a clap. So we're going to come up with something cool for the super chats other than music and clapping. But B-Shuck, you are the man. We appreciate you greatly, brother. And speaking of the man and appreciate him greatly, before we get to trades and potential Buck trades, Zach, Jimmy Giles leading the Bucs out of the tunnel this Sunday, according to Jenna Lane, and Dwight Smith will serve as the captain of the crew. Thoughts on both of those, Zach? Obviously, Dwight Smith, the guy who's had some bad blood with the Bucs, it seems. But, hey, I guess it's buried the hatchet season in Tampa.
Yeah, he also has a gamer with a really cool legend attached to it. So I love the fact that we're spanning all the decades with these players and the different interactions that we're doing for the 50th season. The Bucs are really doing it upright. And we didn't talk about it yet, but I would be amiss to not mention how aesthetically pleasing the game on Sunday was. Both of those uniform kits were next level. If I'm a Seahawks fan, I am heavily pounding the table for them to go back to that style. I've never been a fan of the Seahawks' current uniforms. But seeing those retro ones, man, they just they hit all the nostalgia points, and it was just a beautiful, aesthetically pleasing game. And both social media teams just really did it. I mean, they just crushed it this weekend. It was a great job by both organizations.
It really was a great job by both organizations. I mean, the theatrics of the uniforms were beautiful. A lot of hype on both sides. It seemed like Seattle had legends there. Bucs brought Elstott with them, a couple other famous people there. So great aesthetics there. And B-Shuck says for real. Buckin says cannon for a super jet. Let's see how close this is. All right.
We gotta do better.
Yeah, that's more of an explosion than a cannon. So we'll see what we could do. But J-Lo, thoughts on Dwight Smith, Jimmy Giles, and as Zach alluded to, all the great things this franchise has brought us for the 50th year to chairs and Bucs ball.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Dwight Smith one's really interesting. but glad that they're possibly bearing the hatchet for the past. Dwight Smith made 2 hell of interception returns for touchdowns in the Super Bowl, which we will all never forget. Jimmy Giles, a true legend, leading the way. You got to love it. You know, the 50th season's been so much fun bringing all these throwback players back, so I'm all for it.
I agree. Sorry, looking for a cannon shot, so I keep digging into our list of guides and tricks here and seeing what the hell we all have available. Cats, while I keep having fun behind the scenes, thoughts on I know you're a big history guy, so you must be loving all this cheers to the 50 years.
Oh, it's outstanding. I mean, Jimmy Giles already in the Ring of Honor, deservedly so. That's awesome. And he's going to be there Sunday. Dwight Smith, yeah, I don't even know where the bad blood started with him in the franchise. But regardless, I'm glad that it seems to be buried and he's back to supporting the Bucs.
Yeah, I know he alleges that the Super Bowl was rigged in '02, and he was a big proponent of that and blah, 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 and cried about how he didn't win MVP and all that stuff. But I'm glad the hatchet is buried. And hey, breaking news, Emeka Igbigboo, just like my tweet, knows somebody's name on Twitter. Now Emeka Igbigboo in honor of Gronkowski. Let's see how close this sounds to a cannon. More of a gunshot, but we're getting closer. We're getting closer. So
Igbigboo jerseys are going to be all the rage now. DM me if you want one. I can get you one.
Yeah, that's not a lie. My guy gets some good ones over there. So if you want an Igbigboo, you know where to go. To
right.
Bucs by 30. I'm gonna call it instead of Bucs by 30, Bucs by Big Boo. We'll call it that.
There we go. There we go.
Well, hopefully not 2. You know, Igbigboo means octopus because he got 8 points in 1 possession. That was a fun little graphic the Bucs uploaded. Long as it rained, each city. Oh wow, coming at Seattle there. So yeah, I agree though. But they're highlighted.
Those
Zach,
green ones
what
are
are your
awful.
thoughts? You're the uniform guy. Thoughts on the highlighter green?
You know, everybody gives the alarm clock so much hate, but those highlighter green Seahawks kits might be the worst thing I've ever seen. They are atrocious. And then you put that dark bluish colored helmet with them, and it just looks like vomit. It's awful. I don't even know whoever signed off on that should have lost their job. They're atrocious.
Yeah, they really were. I was not a fan of all, but yes, Buckin, we actually did talk about that a little bit ago. So if you want, you could watch a replay, or when we're done, just simply rewind and you'll be able to hear about our little bit of a convo. But cool stuff. Baker's a warrior. He's a fighter. I love the Instagram post. Just bricked me up a little bit. B-Shuck Gronk is hilarious. He's just so funny, man. I mean, and I feel like he doesn't even intentionally do it, but it's just, you know, Gronk being Gronk, right, Cats?
Oh, Gronk. Yep, it's like you said. He doesn't intend to be funny, but it just comes out that way regardless. We always got to love him.
We surely do. Super Bowl champ here forever in Tampa area. And speaking in Tampa area, we are live here on the Buccateers podcast. And our upcoming schedule is a loaded one, ladies and gentlemen. College football starts Wednesday, tomorrow this week. Newsflash, no better way to start the college football week with campus kickoff with your host, J-Lo. It is a 15-minute quick pick'em show to really get you ready for the big week of football every night, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday in the world of college. And then on Thursdays, we got our beautiful toe in the line to get you ready for a weekend full of NFL football with Joey Nips. That's always a bunch of fun. Saturday, we do our Bucs pregame show and weekend of football pregame show with their Saturday showdown weekend of football kickoff. And then 3 out of the 4 Mondays a month, we have really fun ones. Me and Zach do our Man Cave Mondays. We were on with a great guest yesterday, John O'Barnes. He was incredible. Makes some very funny football films, very good content for New Orleans, Tulane, LSU, the Pelicans, the Saints, you name it. Does some great work. So be on the lookout for that. That's out on all available platforms, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and more. And then Katz and I once a month come at you with the Great History Show, which will be in a couple of weeks as well. So we're locked and loaded here on the fall winter times of the Buccateers. Great times ahead. And speaking of great times ahead, the Bengals hope they get great times ahead as they get a new quarterback in the house. Joe Flacco is in the house. It's a rare trade, interdivision trade, Zach, but Joe Flacco going from Cleveland, he doesn't have to leave the state. He just has to drive a couple hours the opposite way and find himself in Cincinnati. Zach, what are your thoughts?
Man, I don't know what Cincinnati's doing. They should have, if they were going to make a move, they should have did it 2 weeks ago. They could have already had somebody kind of brought up to speed. Now you're just pushing this window another week or two, or you're going to put Flacco out there and he's not going to fully understand the playbook yet. Also, if you're going to make a move, why do you go Flacco? There's a couple better options out there. I mean, I know it takes two to tango, but you can't tell me if you didn't throw a pick towards the Giants that you couldn't have shook Jameis out of that tree and brought him to Cincinnati. Jameis gives you a much better chance to stay competitive within that division. And I don't know. The only thing that makes me chuckle out of this is that after the season's over, I hope Flacco signs a one-day contract with the Steelers so he can officially have been a quarterback for all four teams in the AFC North.
That would be hilarious. So, hey, maybe it'll happen. They surely like their veteran quarterbacks going from Russell Wilson now to Aaron Rodgers. So next year, Uncle Joe, come on down, Mr. Flacco. Let's go. Let's go to Pittsburgh and get you the AFC divisional title there by playing on all four teams. He's had such an interesting career, man. This is a guy who has really elongated it. I do give him kudos for being able to drag his career on as long as he has. So, but I do agree with you. I think Jameis would have been better. Personally, at this point, I think Russell Wilson probably would have been a better option. I mean, I would have went Jameis probably, and then I would have checked in on Kirk Cousins as well. I know it's a little up there, but if the Bengals are serious about winning, Joe Flacco, does he really get that job done? I mean, he was benched on the Colts last year, and now he's benched on Cleveland this year. I just don't know how much winning Joe Flacco helps, but at least they're trying, right, Cats? They're trying something better than nothing.
Yeah, the idea is to hang in that playoff picture until they hopefully get Joe Burrow back. It just doesn't seem like the odds are in their favor of that with any quarterback. So I think they took kind of a cheap route here. There's no guarantee Burrow comes back, but yeah, I mean, I think it gives them a better opportunity than they have with Jake Browning. So mild upgrade, sure. We'll see what happens, but they've got a real uphill climb if they're even going to stay relevant in the AFC playoff picture.
Agreed with you there. J-Lo, you get the other trade of the day as there was a bigger trade involving bigger players to me, but we do want to give a quick goodbye. Thanks for joining us, Captain Niner Macy. Incredible having you. We always love talking ball with the enemy. Hey, good luck. Maybe we could have you on our show one of these days, my friend, and maybe Saturday if you're open, preview the game with you, or maybe next Tuesday we could break down the post game with you. We always love having other peeps on our show, so we'll be in touch, Captain Niner Massey. Always a good time. Yeah, but Buckin, I'm assuming that Atlanta would have chewed some of that contract, right? Because I think if they do trade Kirk Cousins, no team's going to be foolish enough to take on that entire salary of Kirk Cousins. That's probably the reason why he hasn't been traded yet. So I know it would have been hard to work out, but just a thought that Atlanta would have chewed up more of that. Christopher Cole, yo, what's up, CC? We need our Cubs to pull off a big one tomorrow, brother. But J-Lo, thoughts on the Ravens receiving safety Alohi Gilman and a 2026 fifth-round pick, while the Chargers receive edge rusher Odafe Owe and the Rams 7th in 2027.
Yeah, that was a pretty interesting trade, but I guess because Khalil Matt's going to be out and they've been having trouble in the pass rush, so I like the move. I think he was the Ravens' probably second best or best pass rusher they had, so now he's dealt, and we'll get a draft pick for it and a safety, which the Ravens need Jesus right now after that blowout they took, but for the most part, the Chargers getting Owe, that's a good pickup. I like it. I think he'll provide great pass rush to help the Chargers.
Yeah, and this is cool stuff. Quick before we get into fun couple last topics and final word. Josh Caeppo, friend of the program's Pewter Report, just tweeted out really cool stuff from Some Sports, which is AI Insight, but they had a little description on the Bucs this year describing their man versus zone defensive coverage and how that's been a big difference in the defense this year. So if you guys got a minute, go over to Joshua Caeppo on Twitter. Check out that post. Very cool stuff there, but pretty much explains how the Bucs defense is making the proper adjustments so far this season to have a little bit better success. Obviously, Sam Darnold got the best of us a little bit in half number 2 last week, but that'll happen when you're without 3 of your top 5 cornerbacks at points in time. And man, we were fingertips away from really making that. Zach, that would have been a beautiful pick 6 by Yaya right there in the end zone when it had to run it all.
Yeah, it just seems like it fits into that mystique that Yaya is of the almost edge defender of greatness. You know, he's even on there was a couple of sacks that he almost got. He almost got the pick 6. Scott Reynolds talked about it on his podcast this week after the game. If he wants to be the guy, he's got to play like the guy, and he's plays like almost the guy. I know we're going to get into it, so I don't want to get too far ahead of the show here. But I really feel like
if you're talking about trades, let's hear it. What would be one player position you'd like to see the Bucs trade for, brother?
It's got to be an edge rusher. I mean, we're trying to get there with 4. We just can't. We can't get there with 4. I don't know if it's the loss of Cansey, or what it is, but Reddick hasn't shown me anything outside of that 1 sack. Yaya, again, he's got 1 sack and a bunch of almost plays. I'm not a big, he leads the league in pressures guy because, just because you pressure the quarterback doesn't mean he didn't complete the pass still. So that doesn't impress me. I want a guy that the offense has to scheme around because he is that much of a game wrecker. I want a guy that is going to be able to get you that crucial sack on 3rd down to get you off the field. And we just don't have that guy right now. So I don't know. I mean, the Bengals just made a trade, so I don't know if they're still in the market of moving off of Hendrickson. I'm also, you got teams out there like Miami and the Jets that are, on the struggle bus. They have some pass rushers that could be available. At this point, I don't really care where it comes from, but we need a consistent pass rush. And if this is our season, right, and we're going to go all in and we're going to contend for the Super Bowl, if it takes a day 2 pick, like a 2nd round pick, it might be the last pick in the 2nd round if you win the Super Bowl. So I would rather have that immediate impact right now than somebody's potential at the end of the 2nd round next year.
Like that led us to JTS after we won the Super Bowl. And nothing against a guy like JTS, but let's be honest, when your player pool's more limited on home run potential, and you don't get as good as value. If you could get a really good player right now, maybe you do that. Couple of things. Christopher Cole, Flacco went to the Bengals, and then the Ravens got Alohi Gilman and a draft pick for Odafe Owe from the Chargers. So a little bit there about the trades. I'd say Yaya has been more impressive than JTS. I will say that. Richard says Yaya is JTS 2.0, but J-Lo, I do think Yaya has been more successful. What say you?
No, I agree. I mean, he's getting closer and closer. He's just got to finish. You got to finish and make the stats. It's a huge difference when you get a sack instead of a pressure. If you look at the difference, if you get a sack on 1st down, then it's pretty much 2nd down and 17. To me, that's a bigger difference than being 2nd and 10, just getting pressure on the quarterback. It's a drive killer. And I think Yaya's getting close, but I do agree with Zach. I think an edge rusher is
Would that be your trade to make, J-Lo? Would it be an edge?
Yes, I would, because you got to create pressure, and also you can move Yaya to the inside to create more of a package to kind of help build more of that pressure from the edge rushers as Hassan Reddick goes. And, Keon Thibodeau from the Giants, he's another name to look out for that I think the Bucs should look at as well, because to me, I feel like he's the odd man out from the Giants because they got already 2 of the pass rushers. So that's what I say. You got to go get an edge rusher to get stats. You need stats more than pressures.
Buckin says just don't see Light making a slightly big trade. Yeah. Remember, he did get McClendon the year we won the Super Bowl, the interior defense alignment from the Jets. Didn't have to give a ball too much. So I do maybe see him making one of those potential moves if he sees it fits. But right now, I think he's going to give this team another week this week to see where he might need to address, if he does need to address anything. And I think we'll see him go from there. A couple of intriguing veterans still out there as well. JPP, Shaq Barrett, familiar with this Buccaneers team. I'm not saying those are guys that he would sign, but maybe you never know. Kick the tires on some people like that so you don't have to lose draft capital. Our guy Spidey G's is in the house saying, I'm more scared of San Fran this game if we play Mac instead of Purdy. I think Purdy's a system quarterback and a check down merchant. Even Jimmy G took them to the Super Bowl in 2019 with his wide receiver being old Emmanuel Sanders. Yeah, we had a fun debate a little bit earlier on the show about Mac Jones and Brock Purdy. Not really a debate, more of a discussion. But yes, I do agree that Mac Jones is at the very least on the comeback path. And right now, I'm a little more afraid probably of him than Purdy, although both very good competitors, competition in this football league. But Mac has a hot hand right now. But as he said, he's a backup and he knows that. So if Purdy's healthy, we will be seeing Purdy. But Katz, if you could make one trade for this Bucs team, what position or player would you bring in, brother? So far, we have 2 edge rush votes.
Yes, make it a third for an edge rush. And remember, he did trade a 3rd round pick for Jason Pierre-Paul, and he did make an impact for the Bucs. So, I don't think it would take a 1st or even a 2nd rounder necessarily. I think you could get away with you could get someone for a 3rd or 4th. That can make a difference. Give you more depth and get you more, get to the quarterback more. I do think we're going to start to see Reddick finish more sacks. He's done some good things. He's created some
time dropping back in coverage a good bit too, Reddick.
And he's done a good job in that. So they're kind of playing him everywhere. I do think sacks will come for him. But yeah, I mean, you can get an impact edge rusher. It doesn't have to be a 1st round pick or even a 2nd. You can get someone for, I think, for a 3rd round pick. And you could get someone for maybe a 2nd, but you get someone with term on their contract. If you can afford that within the salary cap, well, that's like getting a draft pick because you're getting someone for multiple years.
And let's remember, Katz, couple of good points. JPP first, great point you make. And secondly, if a team like the Titans has a free agent at year's end, it really does no good for them to keep him the duration of the season, for him to walk at year's end. And then, yeah, maybe you'll get a 6th or 7th round comp pick. But if you could escape with the 4th or 5th round pick with an actual team in a trade, then that surely does light up a team like, to me, a Draymond Jones edge on the Tennessee Titans or an Arden Key edge on the Tennessee Titans. 2 guys to potentially look for in trades. As you alluded to, JPP only took a 3rd round pick, so it's not like we necessarily have to go insane. Not saying he has much left in the tank, but a guy like a Matt Judon in Miami, there's names out there worthy of snaps that won't cost this team a lot of money if they even want to go that route. If I'm making a trade on this Buccaneers team, it really depends. Probably going edge rush, but I would not rule out interior defensive line either. I do like what I see with Elijah Simmons. I do like what I see with Elijah Roberts, but let's be honest, guys. Ever since Cansey's went down, Vita's taken on more of the double teams, something they usually switch off taking on the interior D-line. And Vita did have that great 2-sack game, but it's going to be hard for a fellow defensive lineman to get the great pressure with a guy like Cansey potentially. I thought Logan Hall made a couple nice plays, as did his helmet this past week, but he had a couple nice pressures too. But I would probably say interior defensive line for me right now. Yeah, B-Shuck, we'll see. Rushing I think getting an interior D-line would do the same thing, right? I know it's not getting an edge rusher, but a guy who could rush the middle from interior would hopefully open up the edge game as well. So we're all in agreement, just different position, but we all agree that we need someone to get after the quarterback. Quickly, Zach, Mark Andrews, I would not like that for this Bucs team. You've seen some people floating that idea around. What say you?
And we did this last year. No, just no. First of all, Otten is completely serviceable for what this offense needs. We don't feature a tight end in this offense. It would be a waste of draft capital to bring him in. It's not like you're going to trade for Andrews and you got him for the next 6-7 seasons. He's towards the latter part of his career. He's on the downward slope. I would much rather see us re-sign Otten than bring in Adams, and I'm not real high on the re-sign Otten train at this point. So no. Draft capital needs to be spent on the defensive side of the ball. Our offense is fine, even with the hiccups on the right side of the line due to injuries. But Gedeke's going to be back in a couple of weeks. I think Feeney takes that spot from Haggard, and then I think we see the line kind of re-solidify. Then you got Evans coming back, you got Bucky coming back, you got J-Mac coming back. We haven't even seen what that looks like yet. And I can't wait for Baker to put on the Infinity Gauntlet and put the last Infinity Stone in that when J-Mac comes back. And then defenses have to try to struggle. Who are we going to cover? Because there's just too many options.
Couldn't agree more, Zach. I don't want Mark Andrews either. Nothing against the fella, but A, I don't want to give up draft capital or young talent for a guy like him. That's first and foremost. B, I'm totally confident in Ott and Durham and Culp in that tight end room, specifically led by Ott and in the pass game, Durham more and more in the block game as time goes on. And I want to try and develop Devin Culp to the best we can as well. So I would leave it as is. And let's be honest, Mark Andrews isn't as fleet as foot as he was one day anyways. Yeah, you get Mark Andrews, but look at Cade Otton last week in a game where he finally sprinkled in some play calling. Shout out to Grizz. He could use that a little more now that Durham's a little more up in the block game and some alignment are healthier. Look at him. He had 4 for 81 last week, and he's only going to build on that as the season goes. So, Katz, are you in agreement with me and Zach? You don't want to trade for a tight end, specifically Mark Andrews?
Totally agree. It's not a need. I mean, Otten, he's done a great job blocking. He's done everything that's asked of him. And last week they were able to get him out, give him opportunities to make the catch. And look what he did. He made plays, which is what he did quite a bit last year. So, no, there's no reason to trade draft capital for a guy it's a position that's not a need on this team. So, yeah, absolutely don't be trading for Mark Andrews or any tight end.
J-Lo, quick thoughts on that situation?
Yeah, put it to rest. Focus on the defense more when it comes to trades. Our offense is fine. No need for Mark Andrews. Just put that to rest. Enough is enough.
Before we get to final words, going to go around the horn and ask everyone a fun, quick question here. Kat, start with you. The Bolts start on Thursday, season opener Thursday. Quickly, thoughts on the Bolts season as a puck drop in Tampa Thursday, I believe.
I like our team. I know we lost in the first round last year, but they were much improved from the year before. It's just they unfortunately, you're going to play a good team in the first round. Kudos to the Bolts as well on what they did on Saturday. The league can find them all they want. That's fine. I mean, Panthers, of course, get off scot-free. I appreciate them standing up for themselves and not putting up with that nonsense anymore. I'm glad we don't see the Panthers till November because I'm tired of hearing about them. I'm tired of it's a good rivalry, but it's gotten a bit ridiculous now. And go Bolts. Hopefully they can beat Ottawa and get off to a great start.
Yes, sir. Go Bolts again. Puck drop Thursday. And benchmark, I'm calling it the mark to make it easy, to make it short. J-Lo, baseball playoffs winding down. Quick thoughts. What say you on the Cubs' chances down 2-0 to Milwaukee?
I mean, it's win or go home now. They can't drop another one. And they're going to be in Wrigley, right? They're going to be playing in Chicago, game 3. So they'll be at home at Wrigley. I think they can definitely pull it out and tie the series at home. Just got to play better baseball, man. They can't be down by so many. And I think they'll be fine. I think they got a chance to tie the series in Chicago.
I agree. And Zach, round it out with you, my friend. We'll get back to – I'm going to ask you a fun one. your nephew said anything about playing with Aaron Rodgers this year? I know it's got to be new for him and not a lot of secrets can be spilt, but how has that gone for him? Has he said any words about playing with the great Aaron Rodgers?
I will tell you a little bit of what he's told me. He plays everything real close to the vest, and I try not to talk football with him too much because that's what everybody does. So I try to give him that reprieve and just talk about normal stuff.
Yep.
But I did ask about Rodgers, especially like the comparison between Rodgers and Russell Wilson and what that was like. And I have some stories that are probably better for off the air we can talk about. But he did say Aaron Rodgers is not the guy that the media portrays him to be. That he's very personable. He's a team-oriented guy. There's been some situations where the media tried to throw him some questions where he could throw some guys under the bus, and he didn't take the bait. He showed ownership and accountability, and he's real personable with the guys, asking about the family. Zach and Stephanie just recently had a baby, so he's asked about the baby and Stephanie. Just a lot different than the media portrays. So it just goes to show you, just because the article gives you that, that snappy headline because they want you to click on it doesn't mean everything that's written in the story is accurate.
Two things everything you said true, but not everything you hear you believe, right? That's just part of the life right there, and we all learn that. And B, I have a cousin who's in the band Rise Against. I don't know if anyone's heard of them, but he's the same thing, right? We go, and I don't see him often, so you probably talk to yours way more, but when we see him, we're barely talking to him about his band or music, only because he's always on tour and that's his living, so they like to kind of step away from that stuff and enjoy non-conversations like that. But that's incredible, man. I keep rooting for your nephew as well, and the Steelers hopefully win that division. They have a good chance, it looks like, with the status of that division is just getting beaten and battered by injuries. So there we go. But Zach, final word for the program, brother. Always a great time, my friend.
Check out Man Cave Monday from last night. It was a great show. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we look forward to spending the rest of the season with you. This weekend's going to be another brutal game, so go see your cardiologist, and don't over-exude yourself this weekend on anything else, because you have to save all of your energy for the Bucs game, because they're gonna give you a cardiac arrest situation.
Yeah, damn near every game now is roller coaster of emotions. But hey, rather be on 4 flip sides of him than 4 negative sides of them. So, my heart could be a little worse, I guess, if we lost a couple more of those. But it's going to be another exhilarating one with San Fran. That is not a joke there, right, J-Lo? Final word for the show for you, my friend.
No, absolutely no joke. Chest pains happening. Not good watching Bucs games, but I will go out and say it was fun chopping it up with you guys. As Zach just said, it's going to be another fun game to watch with the Bucs and Niners. It's due for the Bucs to get a win. I do believe they will get the win. And then plus, tune into Campus Kickoff tomorrow. Lots of college football talk from your boy J-Lo, J-Lo's Jolts, and all the great Gator Bites. We'll discuss that tomorrow. And y'all guys have a good night. Go Bucs.
Go Bucs, go Bucs, go Bucs. Fire the damn cannons. Fire the damn cannons. Richard saying go Bucs, go Dodgers, go Flames. Good luck to your teams, Richard. Very fun sports week indeed. Remember, college football starts tomorrow as well. Cat's final word for you, my friend, as Danny O joins us. Better late than never. Thanks for joining us, brother.
Thank you again to Brian for a super chat. We really appreciate it, and all our listeners. Go Bucs. Honestly, fuck the 49ers and all their shithead fans that live here that have never been to San Francisco. They're just like the Yankees and the Cowboys because they were a big, they're a legacy type team. So fuck all those assholes that are here, and let's send those assholes back home to their houses in Tampa with their shitty 49er gear, home with a big fat L. Go Bucs.
Go Bucs, go Bucs, go Bucs. Fire the damn cannons. Let's sneak out a win. Let's get a win. We will be back tomorrow with the Campus Kickoff with J-Lo. Thursday, Towing the Line. Saturday Showdown. And Monday with the Man Cave Monday. Maybe talking about pens and other fun things. But we'll all be back. Once again, thanks to B-Shuck for the super chat. Danny O, Olive, Richard T, and the rest of the great commentators. It's been Zach, it's been J-Lo, it's been A-Cats and Tampa Tones here on the Buccateers. Very fun show. Fellas, until next time, fire the damn cannon. Zach, Cats, have a great night, brothers.
Go Bucs.
Go Bucs. Let's go. Fire the damn cannons. Bro, we'll put it like that.
Nice.
What's it like? I was actually there in attendance in Cleveland for Coe's first career NFL touchdown, which was awesome. And,
Awesome.
it was a great game. You could hear me on camera. I was just screaming, "Say it ain't so, Coe! Say it ain't so!" Sadly, from there, the game kind of went off the rails a little. That was the last high moment of that game, but it was a great game. Overtime loss, fun time.
Yeah.
But how was that moment for you? Seeing the first, whether it was on TV, in person, wherever you were, seeing his first NFL touchdown. How was that?
Well, dude, I mean, we were at home because it was a away game. We don't travel to a lot of the away games because we can get into that later. But to watch that and to think I wished I was there live. So to have your video was so cool, and just that, "Hey, this is so cool." I mean, that was so cool for us. Catching it from Tom Brady, right? Like he's got the ball yet. I mean, first NFL touchdown means a lot, right? I mean, as a dad, that's just so cool to see. And it was fun to watch. And, it didn't have the outcome we wanted, but still the same. What a memory! What a memory to have, right? So,
and honestly,
cool.
those. One of the best guests ever, the Buccateers in the house tonight. You guys hear him on Tampa radio all the time. He's one of the best in the business. My favorite personal in the business. That's why I'm elated tonight. Growing up in the Chicago area, you're used to sports radio. That's what gets me through the day. So this man does help get me through the day, I will say, with the Pat and Aaron show at work. Nothing like it. So it's incredible. It looks like we got Stunna bumbling in. I'm Tampa Tones. We are joined by lead goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little clear. But we're joined by Pat
It looks like
Donovan.
Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like you got a little...
No, my camera's broke.
And he was trying to pull me in big time. And then I was like, nothing's happened with Indianapolis yet. Like, I really want to give Indy a chance. And then also I talked to Cody Bruton, once he took over Rich McCann, I'm still like, but look, I was like, y'all just give me the opportunity to explore free agency, see what's going on, and then kind of make us do it.
All right, everyone, you are tuned into the Buccateers at wide receiver, Kalen Geiger, and we are about to have a great pod. This is the Buccateers. You're tapped in, and here we go.